Hello and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, the Norwegian campaign, or Scandinavian campaign if you will. So we're still a bit behind, well very behind, in technology, but that doesn't mean there have not been any technological advances. Let's see, first politically. France doesn't like me much. I don't think I want a war with France right now, or in the near future. Let's improve that relation. But maybe we could go for a round 2 with Spain. Not right now though, but maybe as the next war? Because while I said that, yeah, strategically it's holding on to islands here in the Caribbean, probably not a good thing. I guess there are still Norwegians and Danes living here on these islands, and maybe some politician made it a campaign promise to get them back. And it would certainly be possible. They're not very hard to invade, because how much displacement you need for a naval invasion is based on the port size. And yeah, you don't need much for these, or that one. So yeah, maybe we can take them back. They're not complete. Oh, Puerto Rico is actually worth quite a bit. How about Dominican Republic? Yeah, also kind of worth something at least. But today we are here for ship design. I know some of you prefer like the more combat-oriented episodes to the ship design episodes, but I also know quite a few of you like the ship design stuff. So let's design some ships, and this is where that technology becomes relevant. Because yes, we've now got the Dreadnought type battleships. Got small Dreadnought and Dreadnought 1. Let's see, this can go up to 25,000 tons. 56 resistance. This has 70 resistance. More surface visibility actually, even though it's smaller. But yeah, it cannot be quite as big. Hull form and stability also worse, as is floatability. But being small is not a bad thing when I've got limited ship construction. Yeah, shipyard construction capacity was what I was trying to say. Although I've increased that too by increasing my port size. Let's see what we can do about this. Front tower, not amazing, but better than my pre-dreadnoughts, so that is something. Rear tower almost as good. It's got boats on it though. Are they no, I can place a funnel there. That is good. Let's go with 2 funnels. Like so. Okay, the boats disappeared. Let's say 21 knots. And another technology I have, which is what I've been focusing on mainly. I did not put a priority on the Dreadnought hull research, but I did prioritize turbine engines. Let's go with induced spoilers. Suddenly lots of engine efficiency, plenty good, and plenty good range. We can sail to the Caribbean with this kind of range and not arrive completely low on fuel. And see, for guns, another thing I also had to prioritize the last couple of months, before even I got this hull, is the ability to have 2 superimposed firing turrets. I've got the Mark II 14 on the way. I think we're gonna stick with 13s on this though. Let's move things back a little bit. This will be a rather small dreadnought. Certainly not a super dreadnought. But 13-inch guns is not bad. That's basically what I've been having in at the start when I've started a campaign in 1910 in vanilla. So 13s can work. That's Harald Hårfagre. That's just anglicized. Let's think of a better name. I got it. Now, technically that means fearless, but it's close enough to Dreadnought, and it still works as a name. So that's what we're going with. I'm also tempted to put it up to standard crew quarters, but that's gonna need a lot of crew. And that is a resource that I just don't have. Well, I do have some crew sitting around in my crew pool, but it is fairly limited. That's just a downside of playing as a small nation. Just something you have to think about. My last campaign in vanilla, I played as China, and I had a near limitless number of crew sitting in my crew pool. So that was just not something to worry about at all. Let's go with advanced hydraulics. It does not add to the flash fire chance. I've also got coincidence 2. That's something I've been prioritizing as well, the rangefinder. Flash fire chance is 19.6. Not great, but not terrible. Well, it is kind of terrible, but what kind of deck penetration are we looking at with these guns? At max range 2.2. Plus 75, yeah. Plus 30. No. We're past that. We're way past 30. 1.6. Okay, so I can reduce the main deck and probably be safe. Do I have to reduce the range as well? I hope not, as I need I need to put armor on my turrets. Let's just put 0.1 inch on the inner belt and deck. Yeah, armoring my turrets is eating up some weight. Alright. Barbette armor added a lot of weight. And I've not even done secondaries yet. Or added any length to my gun barrels. That ballistite, very explosive. Let's stick with the white powder. Black powder no longer available. Darn. Reducing the range. Like, that's more range than I've got on any of my ships currently, but if I reduce the speed to 20, don't make a big difference. So, we're gonna have to find a way to shed some weight. 169 tons for these. 866 tons for the main gun turrets. And it's not as if I gave them insane levels of armor or anything. They are just base length. Okay. I think if we're building a kind of budget-minded dreadnought, let's give that better angles, then maybe 3 main gun turrets might be enough. Angles looking good. I don't have access to that Yamato type barbette though. I can put that there, and a secondary gun of some kind. Seven-inch, yes. Let's do that. Let's give it some level of armor. Okay. Now we're talking. Yeah, maybe that's just the range I have to deal with. Unless I may just make the ship too weak. If I make the guns longer, 55 calibers in length. Long reload time, but now I can quite comfortably reach out and touch with decent levels of accuracy out to 10,000 meters, 1.7. I think maybe that's how this thing will stay afloat. Just hit things at range. Further ranges than I've been used to. Of course, making them 13.5s would also be very nice. There we go, 18 kilometer range. 1.8 at 10,000. I kind of like that. What's my total hull resistance now? 101. Not really amazing. Unlike in vanilla, the armor does not give you weight decrease. Minus 20% torpedo damage or minus 30. Does add to floatability and doesn't add that much weight really. Like 200 tons. This kind of pains me, but let's slightly reduce the armor on this. It's still better armored than any of my previous battleships. Now sadly the casemates are really, really heavy. 81 tons for a 6-inch casemate. And there we go, overweight. How about just some 3-inch? Even that's overweight. Okay, we're dropping the casemates now. We're actually also dropping this down to basic caliber. Yeah, still decent. That is still not half bad. So secondary guns will have to be turret mounted. Just because for some reason they are lighter than casemates. That does not impact any of my firing angles. That is good. Three 2-inch guns are Mark III already. Can they fit anywhere though on any of this? No, not really. Not really, no. Hmm. If I do something with barbettes here. Let's remove these for now and just place down some barbettes, see what we can achieve. Still red. There we go. Okay, no, it's this one that is the one that got flipped. No, it's not flipped. Weird. There we go. And now this one can go there. Okay, symmetrical, finally. A bit wonky, but not too bad. 2-inch guns, up there. Nice. Yeah, the range is not too terrible. Accuracy out to 5,000 meters, not non-existent. So let's add a bit to the beam. So I can place these down without them overhanging the hull, which of course looks not great. They're overhanging a little bit. Not too much though. If I can put barbettes under them. No, seems I cannot. Seems I cannot do that. Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with the turrets slightly overhanging. That's fine. Tiny bit aft weight offset. Not too terrible. Are we sure I cannot fit any 2-inch guns like on the main tower anywhere? No. Apparently not. Apparently not. Yeah, range is expensive. 13,000 kilometers is not amazing, but it's better than any of my capital ships already in service. Move that up a little bit, further improving the firing angles. Good enough. A little bit weight to spare for refits. Actually, a little bit weight to spare for armor on those turrets. If I make them 5.9s. Too heavy. 5.5s possible. That gives me a little bit armor for their barbettes as well. Just a teeny tiny bit. Two-inch guns cannot have any armor. And I cannot make them that much bigger. I can make them 2.5 inches. That should be able to deal with some very like close torpedo boats. So I think that's it for this ship. Yeah, cramped quarters might be a problem if it starts taking concentrated fire and a lot of the secondary crew members start dying, but it doesn't have that many secondaries, so there are not really that much crew that isn't protected behind the main armor. So hopefully that shouldn't be a big problem. If I did increase that to standard, that would give me a lot more crew. Yeah, spacious quarters, 1618 versus 871. Almost twice as much crew that I would need for this ship. Which is a drawback in and of itself. Because again, limited crew. Let's see if I can build a couple of these. They're not too expensive, really. A little bit more cost, 50% more. Oh, less than 50% more than the tiered class. Yeah, not terrible, I would say, for a budget and displacement-minded dreadnought. Now let's build. I can build 4 of them. Just barely, I can build 4 of them. Let's start out with 2 of them. And then, in a couple of months when I get the Mark II 14-inch guns, we can build something on those slightly larger hulls. Yes. I think that's the idea. And the other one Only 17-month construction time. That is not bad at all. There we go. The fearless and the cheeky. Let's put them in Göteborg. Do I have any other big ports? Esbjerg is kind of big. Bergen. Malmö. Yeah, Copenhagen, by far the biggest port though. But I've got a big fleet there already. Now I will see you back in a couple of months. So actually what I want to do now is, because I've got the spare ship building capacity. By the way, the next shipyard enhancement will be 10,000 tons. I'm not gonna do that right now though, because it's expensive. But what I will do is I'm gonna refit the Tyr class pre-Dreadnought battleships. Give them one last refit, and also the Viking and Flamberge class destroyers and torpedo boats, because they got better torpedoes available and turbine engines. That's gonna help them a bit. Now, someone commented on a previous video that why don't I just replace these with Mark II 6-inch guns, and I think I will try and do that. That's a pretty good idea. If they fit. They don't. They don't fit. Sadly. 5-inch? They do fit, but they're kind of tiny. What's the difference in, let's see, 7 kilometers? 6.3. Not that big of a difference, actually. And of course the reload is twice as good. Penetration is not the same though, so they're not going to be effective against light cruisers the way these are. So I'm keeping the 7-inch secondaries. I was hoping the 6-inch would actually fit, because that would be a good idea, but yeah, we're staying with the Mark I 7-inch, not 17. Upgrading the rangefinder though, that's doable. Better anti-torp, better citadel. That's a bit heavy, but we don't actually save that much weight by going with the turbines. Turbines are actually heavier. Alright. Didn't expect them to be heavier. Yeah, maybe we're not refitting these. Maybe they are at the end of their service life. Yeah. I think they are at the end of their service life. In terms of refits. Yeah. They are. So, never mind. But the brave Viking class DDs will definitely see an upgrade. There we go. Turbine engines. Let's give them Harvey armor. That's... yeah, they're a bit more expensive with that, but not that much. Oh, we got auxiliary engines for them now. That's right. Torpedoes now got 4.7 kilometer range. Upgrade torpedo mark. Mark II launchers, nice. 4.7 kilometer torpedo range is not bad. Now let's see with the turbines, can we go faster than 26 knots? Without going overweight. I'd like to be able to go 30. But maybe that's asking too much. Let's drop the auxiliary engine. Let's go down to 29. 28. This is doable. 28 knots is doable. Stereoscopic rangefinder. Why do I need that? No. And with TNT-1, there we go. Saving some weight. Very nice. This I'm liking. Can I now go with auxiliary? Better turning rate and no. Let's keep it at that. Keep them cheap and cheerful. 28 knots is a nice speed upgrade though, and the torpedo. Oh, I can go 18 inch. I can go 18 inch. I just need to shave off a sliver of weight. This does not make any difference whatsoever. Apparently, the conning tower. Turret armor is non-existent. There we go. 0.6 on the fore and aft belts. And we are no longer overweight. We got bigger torpedoes that can go further. And the DDs are now faster. A little bit more expensive, but faster. So let's save that. The improved Viking class of tiny destroyers with a decent torpedo punch, as we saw in the last episode. Let's do something similar to the Flamberger. Okay, let's see what we can do. Turbines, that saves a lot of weight. Can these also go 28 knots now? I mean, almost? I think the 18-inch torpedoes might be too much, though. That works. Now let's go down to 17. They are just torpedo boats after all. 2-month refit, not too bad. Let's go with the TNT-1 again to save a little bit of weight. Reduced ammo, we already got that. Let's go with light shells too, for good measure. -3 on the beam. I don't think there's any use in replacing that with a 2-inch gun, but if we go 27 and a half. That just about works. Can we do 27.9? .6. So close. There we go. Good enough. Suddenly these are a bit better too. Longer range torpedoes. 4.7. Still 17-inch, but better range. And they are a bit faster than the, I think it was 25 knots originally. Now, if I start sending my my battleships down to the Caribbean, they're gonna need escorts. And that probably means these light cruisers here. Will have to play a part. 31 million? Is that from the turbine engines? Maybe. Maybe that's that, yeah. So they will have to go at least as fast as the battleships, but we cannot do that. Not quite. We can drop down the Citadel quality back to what it was. Upgrade the torpedo mark. Coincidence 2. Give them a radio for... No, never mind. Don't give them a radio. And I think that's it for the light cruisers. At least now they can keep up with the battleships. I would like to give them more range as well. 75 ton for a funnel. That's front tower 3. I can upgrade it to front tower 4. Gain some more view range. Then I won't need the biggest rear tower. Because I get the view range from the main tower instead. And now I can add another funnel for more range. And there we have it. That's a 2-month refit. More range, a little bit more speed, better torpedoes, and better range finding. These are still Mark II. I think next month they're going to be Mark III, so that's bad timing for the refit, but that's what I did. Alright, let's design some cruisers maybe for our new battleships. What is with you, Japan? Okay. Also, Eastern Poland has, since the end of my war with Russia, and even during it, Russia is now the Soviet Union, if you didn't notice. Eastern Poland has been changing hands back and forth between the Soviet Union and Germany. So the Soviets have summoned like massive armies of 2 million men, going up against a couple 100,000 defending Poland, taken it. Then that our Red Army has just vanished. The Germans have summoned 2 million men to take it back from the Soviets, who suddenly had 100,000 or so. And then on and on, back and forth, with armies just appearing out of thin air and then disappearing as soon as they took it. And then the other way around. So, kind of funny, kind of weird. Just ultimate admiral things. Let's see, how's the research doing? We got the Mark II 14-inch guns now, so I'm gonna throw the priority back on there. Anything else we're getting? What kind of cruiser hulls do we have now? I think that's the one we built the Uller class on, the Armored Cruiser 4. Haven't really gotten a new hull, just bigger versions of it. How about the light cruisers? Anything new here? Nah. But anyway, let's design some armored cruisers, so maybe we can start retiring some of the captured ones we got from Austria and France, I guess. Let's see, Armored Cruiser 4, biggest one we have. We can go up to 13,000. Need to be able to do 21 knots to keep up with the battleships. Needs to have decent range. Crew quarters, again, something I am sacrificing. Like, I would think that turbines would save a lot of weight, but apparently not. Front tower 4, not great in terms of spotting. I can put the rear tower back down here. Yes, yes. A couple of big funnels combined with induced boilers gives us a bit of range. Not as much as 3 big funnels though. Let's move them further back so we don't have a huge 4-weight offset. There. 15,000 kilometer range. That's pretty big range. Centerline guns. 10-inch turrets are huge. The 11-inch turrets just look better on this kind of hull. And also big guns are nice to have. You can put that there. Is it centered? Yeah, it is. This here. Now let's put that back down here where it was. Centered? Yes. What kind of guns do we want for secondaries? Five-inch? Yes. Do we want casemates? I mean, with this many casemate slots, it would be dumb not to have them, right? But let's see, when all is assembled, let's see how much weight we actually need to shed, which is probably quite a bit. We're at the weight limit now already. Basically. TNT 1. Enhanced reload. Advanced hydraulic turrets. 21 knots might be, it should be able to do 21 knots. It says it should. Might have to drop the range down a bit. Might also have to drop some of this stuff, or some of these very heavy casemates. I like having some armor on my armored cruisers. And deck armor will start to become a little bit more important now. Let's go down to 1.5 on the main deck. I might also have to go down in gun size. Yeah, I think I do. I think we have to reduce the size of the main guns. I mean, they're escorting Dreadnought battleships now, so the Dreadnoughts should be able to take care of big ships themselves. So maybe 9-inch. Not a bad idea. The weight difference is less than you would think. The rate of fire is greater though, so maybe, yeah, maybe this will work. Like so, and some armor on the secondary turrets, and some armor on the casemates as well. 1,000 tons overweight. You know, let's drop the upper tiers of casemates. Let's drop the 5-inch casemates altogether, and suddenly we're no longer overweight. Three-inch casemates. Just as torpedo boat defense. Okay, what to reduce now? Bulkheads? Yes. Many should be good enough. 75 million for one of these. Boulder class. Compared to the preceding... where's the Uller? Quite a bit more expensive, yeah. Maintenance is 3 million a month. But they do have more range, and maybe that is exactly what I need. For these exact cruisers. That might be exactly what I need, yeah. Let's drop that one secondary turret, move that up a bit. Does that give me... we're not that far off from being able to keep the range up. Which is an important thing. I want to keep the anti-torp too. There's so much stuff I want to keep. But I can't keep it all, can I? What is my flash fire chance? Probably, it's not too terrible. Not too terrible. And the range on these guns is not even amazing. Mm, let's drop that. Yeah, that works. Not great, but for actually that's half the price of one of the Fricklös class battleships. And let's build two, just for that purpose of escorting those two ships. Yes. Not too thrilled about them though, but at least they should be finished right about at the same time. Okay, monthly balance still in the green. 1.1 billion divided by 24. How much is that per turn? That's 46 million a month. If I'm at plus 16, that'll be minus 30. So I can take that hit. Assuming that my economy keeps growing and yeah, the naval funds will act as a good buffer there, but let's keep building that. Because that's the kind of stuff that will be important later on, having that shipbuilding capacity at more than 75,000 tons, which still isn't much. Alright. Couple more turns. Well, some months have passed, and my battleships are now being commissioned. That is great. What is also great is that I've been prioritizing cruiser design, because I've seen Britain has been building a lot of battlecruisers lately. And in just 5 months' time, I will have my first battlecruiser design. So that is nice. Let's make that 4 months. Alright. Now, still losing money. Once my battleships are commissioned, I'm gonna set them to limited and low crew, so they're gonna save, not be so expensive. And also, we've got less than a year left of my little shipyard expansion. So let's keep clicking through the months. Everything is going crazy politically. Everyone seems to be fighting almost everyone. I'm trying my best to keep out of the mess just for now. But I do think Spain will be the next enemy here. Also, Germany has taken Ukraine, Crimea, southern Russia, and Georgia from the Soviet Union, so that's nice. I think if I get another war with the Soviet Union, I'm gonna take central Russia because, well, it's surprisingly easy to take. Kronstadt is not a huge port. And also northern Russia, so they cannot, like, launch army invasions into my territory. Except for from Belarus, I guess, but I just hope the Germans will take that. And with that, finally, the battlecruisers are researched. Max speed, 25.5 knot? That's not very fast. Let's see what we can do about this. So that tiny advanced tower has the best tower spotting, but not the best base accuracy or long range accuracy. This one does. So I think that's the one we're building on. Combined with that one, with funnel slots. Can't fit two of these here. How about the enhanced small funnel? No? If I space them apart a little bit. There we go. My two funnels. With induced boilers, we get plenty of range to do battlecruisers things. Maybe we are going with this tower and placing the funnels like in between. Like so. That might work. That might work, yeah. That is good range. That is gonna let us do battlecruiser things. Slightly minimize the beam. Let's put that there and that there for now. I got Mark II 14s, so it's gonna be more heavily armed than the battleship. Maybe this can indeed fit here. And that there, yeah. Not gonna worry too much about secondary weapons for this. Space that out a little bit more for better arcs. Yeah. Electric? Sure. And also, I've got Krupp 1 now, which is certainly very nice. Increased AP, and not sure what I will do for secondaries on this. Ooh, Cordite 1. Oh, they removed the white powder, so okay, Cordite 1 is better. But still very, very explosive. Damn it. 40% flash fire chance. Okay. So I guess this ship just has a very high flash fire chance. Let's do some comparisons here with stereoscopic and coincidence. So at 10,000 meters, 2.4 with AP. At 17.5, it's 1% with stereoscopic. 2.5 and still 1% with coincidence. What's the weight difference? Not a big weight difference. Let's stick with coincidence. It's the base accuracy is better. I do get the that's shell splash interference though, which is useful. Not sure which one is actually better here. Okay, let's go with stereoscopic on this. Now let's do the armor. Can I do a 13-inch main belt? Yes, I can. Let's give it decent extended belt so it doesn't get penned to death by cruisers and floods. We're already very. I haven't even done maximum bulkheads. Yeah, some things might have to be reduced here. 20-kilometer AP range, though. Just barely. Okay, on the turret armor. There we go, overweight. But I can't just not have turret armor. That's just not gonna work. What kind of penetrations are we looking at here? Very good penetrations. Like, if I do get a very flat angle, yes, I can pen my own belt armor at long range. But then again, I don't think there's any way out of that. Bit of a 4-weight offset, we can probably fix that. And my towers aren't even heavy. I'm going for like the lightest ones. I get more range with the multiple expansion engines, but they do weigh a bit more. They make the ship cheaper though. I can't really have a battlecruiser with piston engines. That's just wrong. If I reduce the speed down to 24.5, which is pretty slow for a battlecruiser, this is expensive. This is really expensive. I can drop down the anti-torp by 1. I'm not sure what to reduce here to save a lot of weight. If I were to go with 13s instead, okay, yeah, 13s and 14s, big weight difference. Oh, I don't have armor on the 13s, so that explains a bit. Give them the same armor. Now compare. That's a pretty big weight difference. $1458 AP damage, $1160 AP damage. Reload time about the same, bit longer for the 14s. At 15,000 meters we can pen 12.1, 14.4. And accuracy is better on the 14s. At 12,500 it's 1.3 versus 1.6, and at 10,000 2.5, 2.1. But it drops down to 1% at longer ranges, though that's kind of the same. Maybe we're going with 13s on this, leaving the 14s for later ship designs. And we're still overweight. Dang it. Let's reduce the armor even more. This is risky, but well, it is a battlecruiser, not a battleship. Although it's not that much faster than a battleship, I guess. flashfire channels is at least down to 35.2, so that's something. We don't have any secondary weapons. Well, let's keep it at -2. I don't want to make it too narrow. That's gonna ruin my my accuracy. If I just go 24 knots, that does not make a big difference. Yeah, 24 to 25, not a huge weight difference. 26 though is a bit. I don't really know what to compromise on here. Okay, induced made me lighter. How about forced? Not really worth the increased engine vibrations and everything. And maintenance cost, which is a big thing. Okay, I'll need to save many bulkheads then. I guess. It pains me, but that's where we are. Now, how to fit the secondaries on this? If I go light shells, that saves some more weight, reduces my flashfire chance further. Increases rate of fire 1.8 at 10,000. With heavy standard it was 2.1. So that just basically wrecks my accuracy then. 2.2 with heavy shells. But might be worth it just for the slightly less chance of exploding, I guess. I've added a couple of 5-inch turrets here. Put those there. And how close to the funnels can I place these funky looking barbettes? Maybe we're not going with funky barbettes. Maybe we're going with something something more mundane. You know, let's take those off. Come here, you. Take those off. Put those there. There we go, 5-inch guns. 3-inch guns, which are Mark III. It's not a very impressive secondary battery, but I mean, the primary defense for this would be to just run away if those torpedo boats are getting too uppity. So yeah, there we go. Can I go back up to anti-torp? Nope. Nope. Impossible. Max bulkheads, also impossible. But the range is good. Hell. I mean, I guess that works as a name. Let's put this further back to slightly balance the ship and spend my last bit of displacement. Yes, I know, longer citadel, but that means the main belt covers more of the ship, and there's less extended belt here to get flooded by guns with only 5 inches of penetration. So it's it's a trade-off thing. Yeah, I mean, you can't have everything, but for 1906 or 1907 it might be. This is not a terrible battlecruiser. Yeah, let's order up a couple of these. So, a bit more expensive than my early dreadnoughts. 148 million versus 165. A bit less tanky, but they do have more firepower. 8 guns instead of 6. So let's order up 2 of them for now. And figure out where to order them to. Where do I have... oh, Göteborg is over capacity. I didn't know that. Let's put them in Malmö, maybe? Bergen. Yes. Bergen works. I already have a Magnus Badfoot, so we're gonna have to find another name for this one. But with that, this episode is over. Losing a bit of money now that we're building ships again, but once the shipyard is done in a couple of months, that should solve itself and we should be back in the green. And I don't think I'm gonna do any more shipyard expansions in the near future. Just gonna hope the GDP increase is gonna take care of making my shipbuilding capacity higher, because it does steadily increase. Yeah, everyone invading all over. The Byzantine Empire is not looking good. I think they are on the verge of collapse. Well, they got 19 provinces still, but they've lost many of their core provinces. I guess they still have Greece. And the Soviet Union is being pushed too. Is anyone else down to far behind? Or very behind? No. Portugal is behind. They're really not doing well. 12 billion GDP. Okay. Yeah, but I do got some new ships now that we can sail across the Atlantic and take some islands back from Spain if they end up wanting a war. Well, more wars than they already have on their hands, that is. That's it for now. I'll see you when things pop off. Goodbye, and take care.